All right, we've got a real one for you today because this weekend was not just here are the scores. This weekend was storylines. We've got overtime drama. We've got teams proving that they're for real. We've got a couple teams that still look like they're trying to figure out who they actually are. We've got monster stat lines, and we've got goalie performances that straight up stole the show. And we've also got the league-wide stuff that keeps coming back every single week. So today we're doing a full recap, talking points, standings, point leaders, deep dive into all the games, power rankings, anything lacrosse awards, and then we'll finish with predictions for next weekend. Let's get right into it. Welcome back. My name is Jake McDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is a game that never sits still. As always, comment something you want in this episode, and I will do my best to put it in here. Today on this episode, we have something that was brought up by one of the comments in my last YouTube video. So whatever you guys like to hear, I try to put it in here. Go follow the socials and join the Discord. Discord's a great place. Lots of conversation in there. And the more fans we get in there, the more rivalries get in there. And that's what's going to really build this league. So I always try to push that. Go join the Discord. Unfortunately, there's no interview today. Just couldn't get anybody lined up. But don't worry. I've got 3 amazing guests that are lined up coming up here soon. So I honestly might end up doing an interview the next 3 podcasts. Who knows yet? I haven't decided. We'll see. I might bank one. You guys let me know if you want to see them. One's somebody that comments on my videos a lot. It's super knowledgeable. He's played a pretty high level lacrosse and has very strong opinions. So I know there's going to be some stuff that we get into. You've also got a very high level female player that I've got coming on. And also she's got into reffing and all that stuff. So that's amazing. Great connection just by doing my stuff. Somebody reached out to me, mentioned that I should be interviewing her. A high level junior player that's coming on. So that's a couple little sprinkles in there for you guys. And we got some exciting things coming. So unfortunately, like I said, nothing today about that. First we're going to talk about thing today is we're going to be talking about attendance, specifically in Toronto Rock and how it's down. Now, this is what one of the comments was that I got on one of my videos. So I want to address it and actually want to give them a shout out too. This is from Enter Sandman 69. So, and his question is, are the Firewolves to blame for the Rock's poor attendance? I don't know, to be honest with you. And I'm going to show you. Let's go through the numbers myself because you know me, I'm a big numbers guy. And I'm going to kind of go through all this stuff. So first off, thank you for the question. I love that when people leave comments, and not enough people do leave comments, so I appreciate it. It helps me kind of put together the episodes and I'll know what you guys actually want to see, right? Starting off. So basically, is Oshawa to blame for the low attendance in Toronto? I'm not sure. I don't think so. So here's kind of my quick 2 cents before we get into this and actually look at the numbers, because I'm going to do a deep dive into the Toronto Rock history here, attendance-wise anyway. I don't think, you can't really blame it on Oshawa, in my opinion. I think that might have, maybe a little bit, they might draw fans from there, but I think they're far enough apart where if you're in Hamilton, Burlington, Brantford, shout out Brantford, anywhere in that area, I think it's just as super easy to go to Hamilton. If you're more, kind of up in the Peterborough area, all that kind of stuff, Oshawa, obviously, that kind of area, it's obviously going to be easier to go there. And I'm sure at the same time, people will travel if they really want to go to a specific team. I know we have one guy in the Discord that has season tickets to both. So obviously there's fans that'll just go to both. And I love that. If I lived there, I would probably have season tickets to the Rock and Oshawa. Toronto Rock. So I'm originally from Hamilton. If anybody doesn't know, that's where I grew up. And I grew up in the heart of the city, so downtown. And so I will always call that arena Cops Coliseum. If you know, you know. I think it's First Ontario Center now or something. That they can hold 18,000 people in there. It can get packed in there. And I think they just got an AHL team too, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if they're playing there or not. I could be incorrect about that, but that hopefully, if they do play in the same arena, hopefully they'll be able to work together and get fans for both teams in the building. So I don't personally think it's Oshawa's fault that they're having low attendance. I think what the more issue is they've pulled out of Hamilton a few different times over their lifespan. So maybe the fans just haven't been able to get into that real core. The other thing that I know, this is going to be super unpopular opinion, I don't think they should be named the Toronto Rock if they're not in Toronto. Hamilton, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been for a long time. It's not part of the GTA. I know Hamilton, sometimes people want it to be, and sometimes, whatever, but Hamilton is its own little planet. It's not part of the GTA. It's technically outside the GTA. So for the fact that Toronto Rock play in Hamilton, which I understand for, logistics and all that kind of stuff, cost-wise, why aren't they called the Hamilton something instead of called the Hamilton Rock, instead of calling the Toronto Rock? The problem is you have this historic franchise that's been around for so long. They played in Hamilton a few different times throughout their history, and it's like, how do you take the Toronto Rock out of the league? Sam Perro is a man, and we as a lacrosse community love him, and I'm going to buy him dinner sometime just for having the site, because this is something that he puts his own time, money, and effort into, and this guy should be given an award, whether there's some sort of like NLL Hall of Fame or something. Grant Perro should be entered into it. That's 1,000%. If there is, I don't know if there is actually. That's something I should look into. But if there's an NLL Hall of Fame, he should be in it for sure. So we've got regular season games total. You have 212 regular season games. Total attendance is 2,489,275. You have average attendance of 11,742 for the regular season. Playoffs, you've got 29 playoff games. You have 328,424 total attendance, and then you have 11,325 average, and total games altogether 241 total home game. You have 2,817,699 total attendance. That's huge. And then average attendance for the whole thing is 11,692. So they're averaging over their lifespan 11,000 fans. Now, with that being said, it's declining over time. It's kind of been, so from 99, the inaugural season, they had 11,075 fans averaging. 2000, they had 13,881. 2001, they had 15,749. 2002, 15,089. 2003 was 16,733. 2004 was also over 16,000. 2005 was 17,000, which was peak. This is where we start to see a little bit of the downness, which is funny because this is last year they would have made the playoffs for 4 seasons. And you have 2006, you have 16,000. 2007, you had a little over 17,000. Or sorry, a little over 15,000. 2008, you have 14,000. 2009, you have almost 14,000. 2010, you have a little over 10,000. 2011, you have 10,000. So quite a big drop between those 2 years. 2012, you have 11,000. 2013, you have 10,000. 2014, you have 10,000. 2015, you have just over 10,000. 2016, you have 9,159. 2017, you have 9,600. 2018, you have 9,700. 2019, you have 9,400. 2020, 8,340. 2022, 2023, 9423. 2024 is 8636. 2025 is 5124. And then 2026 is 6402. So right there at the very bottom, the last 2 stats I talked about there specifically, it shows right there that actually the numbers have gone up from last year, but they are also playing in a bigger building and back in Hamilton. So I think that gives them their advantage. I don't know if the fan base just really hasn't caught back on yet. I think we need to try to keep this team in the city for as long as we can and try to build this community around them. Obviously, like, again, I'm big on players living in the community and getting out of the community. That's going to help grow this game. And yeah, so you can see it's definitely a steady decline as we go down a little bit. But with that being said, hopefully that'll change as time goes on here. The Buffalo game should be a very, very high seller. That game, I'm actually going to that game. And I know my brother-in-law is going to that game, and like he doesn't go to many NLL games, but that game he's going to. So like that game specifically should blow the barns off the door, which is coming up here, the end of February kind of deal. So that should blow everybody's expectations out of the water and show that you can actually get. I think I'm gonna expect to see 12,000 plus there that game, guaranteed. Like I won't be surprised if it's even more. Like if you see into those Buffalo numbers, maybe not quite that high, but like 15,000, 16,000. But I think that we're going to see one of the biggest games because I just know there's a lot of hype around that game, and which goes back into why are these teams only playing once a year? And that's kind of something else that we have to consider in these numbers too, is you've taken away these division rivals a little bit, and there's not as much with the game because I don't care what the players say, and some players say they play harder or whatever. It feels like a bigger moment when they're playing certain teams. Other players have told me it doesn't matter. I go into every game the same. It doesn't matter what jersey they're repping. I can tell you from a fan's point of view, it 1,000% matters. And I know if you're a Toronto Rock fan, especially a diehard long-term Toronto Rock fan, you hate the Buffalo Bandits. You absolutely hate them. You guys, I think they just up Toronto for the most championships in the league now. Toronto, I think, is sitting at 6. Correct me if I'm wrong there. That's all off memory. You know, it's wild. And I would like to say that the average attendance has been going down in the league steadily over the basically since it started. It started with first season T9 or no, see, this is all over the place. The average. That's why it's the average. Okay, hold on. Let's go like this. 2026. So let's look over like the averages in the league too while we're doing this. And we've got, so first season, in 1987, there was only 12 games and the average fans of like 8,200. Then as we go on, 1989, they got up to 9,600. Then 1990, they broke the 10,000 barrier and stayed around there for a little while, like until 95. 96, they dropped to 8,700 on average. Then you've got them kind of staying in that range, the 9,000 range, between high sevens to 9, right up until 2004. 2004, they got up to 9,800. 2005, again, back to over 10,000, same as 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, all over 10,000. 2010 was at 9,500. 11 was 9,700. 2012 and 2013, 2014 were all like above in like the mid like 9,500, right around there, give or take. Then you had 2015 at just under 9,000. 2016 was 9,153. Then a little bit of a jump up for 2017, 2018. They were almost like 9,500. 2019 was just around there as well, just a little over that. 2020, which we got to give the league a break on this one because this was COVID year, obviously, was 8,036. And then 2022, same thing. Restrictions when we came back, 68, 65. And then it's been growing kind of since then. So then we had almost 8,000. 7,700. Roughly for 2023, 2024, 2025, 7,800, and then right now 2026, we're right around that 7,800 mark. So as you can see, like attendance definitely has dropped averagely, but the thing is that I want to mention too is that also that's going straight up, right? But then if you go to total numbers, you've got more of consistency, like where it started out. You got or let's go here, totals. You got the top seasons, or like the top seasons for total fans are 2007, 2024, 2023, and 2008, 2025, with just under a million. So there you go. And then so there you go, right? So on most of these, out of the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the top 5, the last 3 years have had the most total fans. So obviously there's more teams and stuff, but it shows that the league is growing. The average fans are dropping a little bit, but that just shows that there's potential for growth here, guys. That's all this is. So do I think that Oshawa affected Toronto Rock, their attendance numbers personally? I don't think it really affects it. After looking at this, I just don't think if you could argue them coming back to Hamilton, they should have had maybe a bit of a more hurrah, but I think they've only had a couple games at home, so you can only, you can do what you can do kind of deal. So it is what it is. I just want to go check specific games out, preferably this weekend specifically. Oh, you can even look up lowest attendance too. That's fucking sad. Where's the Toronto? That's wild. It shows the whole, every game. You can go back. I love Graham. Such a G. This one doesn't show today's though, I don't think. 18th. Yeah, it's January 18th. Toronto's at home this weekend. All right, let's see if we can find it. I think I can probably find it through all games actually. All games. Oh yeah, so see, like even the last game against Georgia, I mean, it's Georgia too. I mean, they do have a couple players from that area, so you think they would have a better turnout, but a little under 7,000. We definitely need that to be up. Toronto's one of the pinnacle. Toronto's definitely one of the pinnacle ones. Like, let's see. But overall, man, they definitely we gotta get more fans in that building. There's nothing to talk about. I can do it. I'll get more fans in there. Just give me the reins. Give me the reins on the marketing for Toronto. I'll get you more fans in there. Fucking drag them in there, boys. No, but definitely. So yeah, my answer is Oshawa taking away from them? I don't think so. I don't think that's the issue. Next point. So we're gonna get right into the next topic I want to talk about. I always to pick 2 topics every episode to go over on whatever kind of, if that's news, if that's just whatever, like a fan question, or even like I said, something I noticed. So these Crease rules. I'm gonna be so unpopular for saying this, and I don't care. The Crease rules are fucked. I don't know what you guys have done in this sport to make, like, whoever has structured these Crease rules and made this, it makes no sense, okay? You can go in the crease, but you can't be the first one out. You can't be the first, when you get out there, you can't be the first one to touch the ball. I don't fully understand that rule. Please, somebody, why does that affect the game, right? And if it does affect the game, how about just keep the players out of the crease? Well, then you're going to lose dives. You know what? I don't want to lose dives, but at the same time, if it has to be black and white, it has to be black and white. Now, I love dives. I love dunking. I think they're great. I don't think you should take that out of the thing. But I'm big on contact in the crease, player's fault, right? I don't give a fuck if the goalie fucking runs at you. You're in the crease. The step that you can run through the crease, no problem, no contact, right? But then if you grab the ball first and you score, it doesn't count. It doesn't, that rule makes no sense to me, man. And I you know what? Somebody I'm sure that has way more lacrosse knowledge is gonna fucking let me have it in the comments and try to make me understand it, which cool, thank you. But The crease rules in this game are so messed up. The new Jumbo was talking about this on Lacrosse Classified last week. The new Buffalo Bandits rule, which is ironic because they haven't even been called for it yet, I don't think, or maybe once. It's been other teams, Rochester, Toronto. Toronto's been bad for this. Just stay the fuck out of the crease. If you're a defensive player, stay out of the crease. If you're an offensive player, stay out of the crease. I think that's the easiest way to make it black and white, so you can't do it. Exclude diving. Diving you can keep in, right? Because we want to keep that in the game. It's an exciting part. It's an exciting way to score. But this running through the crease thing, you have to make it black and white, in my opinion, because it's just. Or you just fucking, if somebody wants to run through the crease and get the ball, let them. I don't know. Maybe again, it's obviously this rule probably came from somewhere of people screening the goalie, jumping out quick, getting the ball into scoring, right? So I do understand that. Being in the crease when the ball goes through, definitely it should be a no, all that stuff. But I just think the best way to do this, because everyone's complaining about they don't know how to, especially on the defensive side. Well, how do we rule? How do we rule this? You rule it that players are not allowed to in the crease, and if they do and they block something, it's automatically on them. I don't care if it's a block shot, or I don't know if they're not intentionally doing it. You are in the crease. The only way to make this clean cut, this is the rule, is players need to stay out of the crease. I don't know, guys. You let me know how this doesn't make sense to anybody. To me, it makes perfect sense. Some player, I know people aren't going to like this. This is why this is one point that I know, and maybe I'm coming from a place just not that's not informed enough to understand this, but I can tell you right now, when all I'm hearing is a bunch of different people bitch and whine and complain about this. Let's just keep players out of the crease, and that solves the issue. That legit does. You can disagree with it, but you cannot argue that this would not stop all of this bullshit that's going on, where players are laying in the crease. The refs don't know when to, they don't know when to call the penalties. It's not consistent yet. That's kind of a work in progress. I'm sure that's going to be fixed as time goes on, but that's just what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of this crease stuff. Got one goal this weekend where I can't remember who it was, but he went in the crease, hopped out, got the ball and shot it in. It was called a goal, then called back because he was in the crease. He didn't touch anybody. He didn't get in the way. I don't understand that. That blows my mind. If you're going to let them run through the crease, if they go in and come out and then they get a goal, the only thing I can see it being an issue, sorry, it should count, but the only way I think it being an issue is if there must be guys sitting in front of the goalie and then just getting out of the way and then getting out and making a quick shot. I don't really know, to be honest with you, or they're getting the ball in the crease, but this is the thing. It's not like he got the ball in the crease and stepped out. He was in the crease, stepped out, got the ball, and then shot, if I do remember it correctly. So somebody yell at me for that, but this, to me, it's just keep the players out of the crease. Like I said, dive in. You got to keep that in the game. It's exciting. I agree with that. But keep the fucking players out of the crease. And if they go in, they get hit with the ball as a defensive player, make it a penalty. There you go. Problem solved. Boom. That's going to slow that down. Because I think I've heard, just give them the ball back or just overturn the ball. The problem with that is that's not really that big of a consequence. So realistically, okay, just, stand in the crease, give them the ball back, give it another shot if it stops a goal, right? But you penalize people, and it's gonna really create that urgency not to do it. So again, just my kind of thought process on that, especially being as a newer lacrosse fan. Somebody explain to me how this makes sense, or if it doesn't, because to me it really doesn't make any sense why that had any effect on the game. That specific play that I'm talking about, where he stepped in the crease, stepped outside, got the ball and shot and scored. I don't understand how that affects the goalie at all. I'm sure, again, I'm going to get yelled at, but to me, being a newer lacrosse fan, it doesn't make any sense. These crease rules make no sense. Not that they don't make any sense, but they're just all over the fucking place, and we need to get more consistency down there. Somebody yell at me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm an idiot. I don't know. That's just kind of what I see from this point of view. And probably once you leave comments, I'll be like, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. This rant right there, where I'm seeing a lot more people talk about it consistently. It's been something that's been talked about, consistently. And I just want to see it fixed, right? So let's run through. I'm going to do a quick weekend recap for anybody who just kind of wants to listen and just kind of get the scores and move on. And then I'll go into standings and stuff like that. And then I'll do the deep dive after that. So into all the games, if you want to hang around for that, I go pretty in depth with them. So it is nice. It kind of feels like, I find when I talk about it, even if you didn't watch the games fully, you feel like you did. So we got the weekend results versus Toronto, going to overtime. What a game. Lyle Thompson coming up clutch with the goal in overtime, beating Toronto 10-9, close game. And Toronto had at least one or two that could call back for sure. Then you got Vancouver. You have 12-8. Vancouver, again, this was one of those games that, Vancouver's just such a strong team. And Ottawa just couldn't. Delbs is just so good. And shout out, Delbs got his 100th assist, or 100th point. I think it was his 100th point as goalie. And I think he's only there's only about 5 goalies that did that or something. So huge accomplishment for Delbs there. Then you got Oshawa versus Colorado. Colorado beating Oshawa 15-11. Massive win for Colorado. Oshawa, you can see it. They're just about to turn it around. And like I said, next week, I think they take this. And then spoiler alert for later down the road in the podcast. And San Diego beating Philadelphia 7. Philly was at home, and San Diego squeaking out a win. But you know what? To be honest with you, Philly dropped this game. They were up by quite a bit. That first half, I think San Diego only got one goal that first half off the top of my head. And they came back and played a great second half and won the game. Played great defensively. And as much as I go on like face-offs don't matter, I can tell you right now, in the nitty-gritty of things, they can make somewhat of a difference. And Baptiste is just the best face-off guy in the world, hands down. Nothing to talk about there. You can't argue that with me. He's beat everybody now, and he's just an absolute animal. I think he's got over 80% or something. It's insane. Like on the season, it's insane. So let's run through the standings real quick here. So we've got the standings as of currently. We've got Saskatchewan Rush with a 6-1 record. Colorado Mammoth with a 5-2. To be honest with you, Colorado would probably be in first if they were healthy this whole season and had Jack Hanna this whole season. So Colorado's like the cream of the crop. I think Saskatchewan and Colorado are going toe to toe I can't wait to watch those two play. It's going to be great. Then you got Rochester Nighthawks, 4-2. They had the weekend off. They had a loss last week. They're going to be coming out swinging next week. You got Vancouver Warriors as well at 4-2. Georgia Swarm at 4-3, which has surprised me, but their back end's just so good. And if they can just figure out their offense, they're going to be an absolute scary team. You've got Ottawa Black Bears at a 4-4. You've got Buffalo Bandits at a 3-3. You've got Las Vegas Desert Dogs at a 3-3. You've got Toronto Rock at a 3-3. You've got San Diego Seals at a 3-3. You've got Halifax Thunderbirds at a 3-4. Honestly, might be the most surprising to me that they're this low already. Just the fact that they're under 500 is wild. You've got Oshawa Firewolves with a 2-6 record, but I think, like I said, I think they're ready to turn it around. Calgary Roughnecks with a 1-5. This isn't surprising overly. And then you've got Philadelphia Wings also with a 1-5, which I think these guys are just going to be battling for the basement this year. And unfortunately, because you know what, both are young teams, both have some really young talent. And they're going to be good in a couple of years, but right now they're just kind of out there to try to give these teams a run for their money. This coming week here, we have Saskatchewan versus Calgary. Just to run down really quick: Saskatchewan versus Calgary, Philadelphia versus San Diego. So the rematch, except San Diego is at home this weekend, home and home. I like that actually. You got Georgia versus Halifax, Vancouver versus Rochester, Ottawa versus Toronto. That's going to be a banger of a game, that one for sure. You got Buffalo versus Colorado. That one's going to be a banger. Another great chance to try to prove that Colorado is the best team in the league. They have a great opportunity here. And then you got Oshawa versus Las Vegas. And as much as I like Vegas, I think this is a game where Oshawa is going to start turning it around and start climbing these standings again. There's Oshawa. A lot of people are counting them out. And I can tell you right now that they just need their other guys to start working more. Dyson needs to be better. But Alex Simmons is killing it. So, and with Theed there, now, give him some time to get it settled. But that to me is a very nice pickup. I really like that. By going through each game and doing a deep dive into each game here. Okay, guys? So right away, first off, we'll start with Vancouver versus Ottawa. Vancouver winning 12-8 over the Ottawa Black Bears. Absolutely huge. Vancouver needed that win. And Ottawa, to me, was starting to, by the way they were beating their opponents, to me, I had them ranked pretty high. They dropped a little bit again after this loss, but they still, in my opinion, have the best duo in the league right now, which is insane to say. So right off the bat, we had Vancouver getting 5 in the first, 5 in the second, 1 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. And Ottawa got 2 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the third, and 0 in the fourth. So really, it was just like a lockdown. Vancouver really decided once they had a big lead, they just tried to lock down, and it worked. And they had no how to play. Dell's back there is just amazing. That defense is amazing. Vancouver is easily, you're going to see them in the Final Four this year. They're just an absolute, Ottawa could have played better here personally, but big game overall for them, for both teams. Ottawa would have been nice to see them win at home. They can't seem to get to win at home. The attendance this game was low. We need to get some attendance in there too, man. You guys are not going to get to keep a team. 41-29. And I know this is going to be I know this is in the arena issue. I know it is, but we have to get there. We have to get that up. That's crazy. Vancouver just had 10 the week before when they were at home. It's not them. Ottawa needs to start getting some fans in there. How do you do that? You have the best player in the world. We need to figure out how to market this team. And I know, again, like I said, the arena is going to be changed once they get the new arena downtown, but still, can this team hold on for that long? That's the real question, right? Can they hold on for this long? Because I can tell you, Montreal is chomping at the bit, and it makes a lot of sense. for a team to go to Montreal. So, and it's not that big of a relocation to go from Toronto or from Ottawa to Montreal. I'm not saying, listen, guys, that is not anything that I've heard. That is my complete speculation. But like, you guys, if you're an Ottawa fan, fucking get out there and support your team. Bring your friends, bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your kids, bring your freaking grandma, bring the guy, your neighbor. Everyone's got friends they haven't reached out to in forever. If you're in Ottawa, what's the better thing to do than go to a cheap lacrosse game and watch, the best player in the world with the best duo in the league right now playing what I think is the best sport in the world. So you're crazy. Get out there, fans. Sorry, I just had to have that little rant there because the attendance thing drives me nuts because I know Ottawa can do better than this. I just know they can. Their hockey team seems to be a little bit like, what? I just don't fucking get it, guys. Get out there and support your fucking team, please. Okay, so we've got Vancouver also. They did their longest row was 14 minutes, just over 14 minutes. Ottawa's 17. Longest streak for Vancouver was 4. And their biggest lead was 7, and they had the time with the lead was 58 minutes, so pretty much right from the beginning of the game. And then you had Ottawa's longest streak was 3, and they had 0. They always had 0 minutes led, or their 0 was their biggest lead. Not too many penalties overall, realistically. Let's just check that out real quick. Yeah, a few minor ones here and there. Let's go over the point leaders here too. So out of Vancouver, you got Jesse King get 2 goals, 4 assists with 6 points. Pretty decent night for him. Keegan Ball, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. He was fired up out there last that game, and what good for him, man. He's a little beast. Then you had Curtis Dixon with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. You had Adam Charlambides with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. You had Shane Simpson with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. You had Matt Beers. I love Matt Beers, by the way. 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. Marcus Claridge had an assist, same as Sheridan. Reed Bowering had an assist. Cornwall as well. Christian also had his assist, and I had mentioned this earlier. He also had a 100th point in the NLL, and for a goalie, it's crazy. He sits in a very elite category. On the face-off, you had Max Adler going 11-24, so a 45% in the face-off. On the other side of the ball, or on the other side of things, you had Jeff Teat leading his teams with 3 goals, 3 assists with 6 points. Connor Kiernan with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. Rob Hellier with 4 assists. Larson Sundown with a goal and an assist. Riley O'Connor with 2 assists. Jacob Dunbar with a big goal. He always gets a big goal, man. Sam Firth with another goal. Callum Jones with an assist. 7 loose balls. Huge. Callum Jones he's got to be on the kind of starting people talking about him as like rookie of the year, or not rookie of the year, as defenseman of the year, I would say. I know this game maybe, still to hold Vancouver to 12 actually really isn't that bad. Like Vancouver's got a lot of options over there. This was more on the offense, I would say, that they couldn't get going. Let's goalie stats. We had Christian Del Bianco he had 8 goals against, 50 shots, 42 saves, 8 goals against, and 84 save percentage. Still putting up numbers that realistically, even for him, are high. If you're talking about his long term, or if you're talking about his whole career, it's still even above average for him, but he almost seems like he's getting better. So he's just such an amazing goalie night in and night out. Zach Higgins, back to having not the greatest performance, had some really big saves, though, I will say this. He had 39 shots, 28 saves, 11 goals against, and a 71 save percentage, so it has to be better. Higgins, when he's on, and when he's not on, it's Vancouver. I'm not trying to make excuses for him or anything, but I think, if we can get the version of Higgins we've seen last week, and just focus dialed in, if we can get him to stay at that level, it gives Ottawa a chance every chance. But Vancouver's just a strong team, and that's the thing about Ottawa. As much as I do think they there's dark horse team, when they go against these top level cream of the crop teams, this is where they do sometimes struggle. I will say, obviously they've had some bigger wins against top teams like Saskatchewan, but they do got to keep building this resume up if people want to take them super seriously. But overall, good game. Attendance needs to go up, for sure down there in Ottawa. Come on, guys, get out there and get it out there. Like, Philadelphia should not be outpacing you, especially when they're the ones that are probably going to have to be relocated. If any team is, knock on wood, because I want them to stay there. We need Philly to stay there. It's going to be weird. So anyway, San Diego beating Philadelphia 9-7. They get it's going to be the same thing this coming week. They're going to play each other again. So, both teams are going to be coming out hard. Sometimes that helps the team that already won, because they can just expose what they did end up exposing after all that time playing. And other times it helps the other team that loses, refocus and go give it another shot. Which, to be honest with you, Philly had San Diego on the ropes, and San Diego came back strong, which we're going to go over. So we had 66,313 in attendance at this game. So not horrible, but still, I think we need to be over that 7,000 mark for all these games, guys. And I really like to see that 10K mark for any teams that actually are able to make that 10K mark. That's where we want to, that's where the standard needs to be. So it is what it is, though. Better than Ottawa. Let's just put it that way. We had San Diego only getting 1 goal in the first half, and then they got 4 goals in the third and the fourth to win the game. And you had Philadelphia getting 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. So they were pretty consistent throughout, but they just need more scoring. That's really how it is. And they can't get, they can't stop. So San Diego went 22 minutes in their longest drought, and they had their longest streak was 3 goals, and biggest lead was 2, and they held the lead for only 8 minutes and 33 seconds. Very similar to last week in Vancouver, where they did the same thing. Most of the game they were down, and they ended up pulling it off. Yeah, 13-25 was their longest drought. 3 goals was their longest streak, and 4 was their biggest lead. 42 minutes they had the lead for. So this is what I mean. For me, Philadelphia, this was their game. They lost this game in that, the second half especially. They did a great job in the first half, and if they can just play 60 minutes of lacrosse like they did in the first half, they are going to, be a lot better off. So let's go run through the stats here. So you had for San Diego, you had Ben McIntosh with 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. Wesley Berg with a goal and 3 assists, 4 points. You had Dylan Watson with a goal and 3 assists for 4 points. Connor Robinson with 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. Zach Courier with a 1 goal, 2 assists. Trey LeClaire with 1 goal, 2 assists. Pat Cavanaugh, the rookie, 2 assists. 1 assist with Trent DeKiko. And that was it. And then loose balls. Oh, you had Trevor Baptiste going 60%. So sorry, I said he was 80% this time. I thought I seen he was higher than that. So I apologize. That's my bad for saying that earlier. Anyway, loose balls, really other things. In Philly, you had Eric Fennell with a goal and 4 assists. I really like this kid. He's solid. Joey Rez with 2 goals, 2 assists. Brendan O'Neill with 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Michael Sowers with 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Great player. In him, you had we have Riordan with 3 assists. Scott Dominy with 1 assist, and Brendan O'Neill 10 shots on goal. I always say he's got one of the best shots in the league. The PLL was definitely not pumping his tires a couple months ago. Alex Pace with 10 loose balls, huge. And then you have holy cow. You had Nicholas Rolette with 8 for 19 in the face-off circle. So not meh in the face-off circle. I would say probably needs to be a little better. Christopher Irregulari. He had 41 shots on goal, 34 saves, 7 goals against, and 82.9 save percentage. Another big night for him. Since he's come back, he's had 2 pretty solid games. So very nice bounce back, because before he went out, his numbers weren't great. Then you have Nick DeMood. He had 53 shots on goal, 44 saves, 9 goals against with an 83 save percentage. So he still had, these save percentages are still high in comparisons to other years. And Nick DeMood, man, I'm telling you, if I was a team, let's actually hold on. I want to look at this for a minute. Nick DeMood is only 27 years old, so he's still just young. If I was a team, I would 1,000% look at Philly, and if I could go steal Nick DeMood off them, I would try to do it. Like a team that needs a goalie, Nick DeMood going to another team would be insane. Honestly, his numbers would get even better, and he's so good. I think, and it's funny, Irregulari is going to have to continue to play like this in order for San Diego to win, because it shows that when they win, he has really good games. So can he continue this? Hey, I think I love being proved wrong. This is the thing, okay? I don't care that what I said about them. I still kind of stand behind it a little bit. I'm not overly impressed with them yet. They kind of gave me a facade and then showed me what they were really like. They do have some good guys out there. Don't get me wrong. It's just, to me, I just can't get over, I just can't, when I look at the teams and compare them to other teams, I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't look the same. It looks like they're always at the disadvantage. Like San Diego and then Philly, same thing as Philly, right? Philly's got a young team. San Diego is more of a veteran team. So that's why it's kind of a little bit more worrisome for them. And I think they need to go out there and try to drag their way to the playoffs, which, to be honest with you, they might, but I think they're just going to be a bubble team. I think they might be a little bit better than I even thought, or finish a lot better than I thought. But I still think they're going to be that bubble team, and I do think that they're just going to miss. But we'll see. We'll talk about that. It's going to be coming up probably like after week 10, I would say. We'll be halfway through the season essentially, and I'll probably just do like a mid-season recap on everything. And then, okay, so anyway, so next week, the third game of the weekend, the first Saturday game. So I went 0-2 for the first 2 games, and Saturday I went 2-2. So I picked both these games, and they were tight, even though it doesn't look tight in Colorado versus Oshawa. This was a tighter game than the score shows. You had Oshawa going into Colorado winning 15-11. That barn is loud. They had 8,600 attendance. Pretty solid number, honestly. Honestly, that's not bad. I like it. I want to go to I want to go to a game real bad. This was a tight game, and Oshawa did make a come back, and then they kind of just Colorado put on the gas again. So yeah, right away you have Oshawa getting 3 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and then you had Colorado getting 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, and 3 in the fourth. 3 in the fourth. Yeah, and Oshawa had longest drought was 17 minutes, and Colorado's was 12. You had longest streak by Oshawa was 3, and their biggest lead was 2, and Colorado's was 5 was their longest streak. Biggest lead was 4, and time at the lead was only 6 minutes by Oshawa, and Colorado had it for 45 minutes. Obviously, Colorado they came out really strong. Colorado came out really strong. Like, let's see here. So Oshawa scored the first one, then Colorado scored the second one. Oshawa, Dawson Thied scored the opener there too. Then you had Oshawa going back to back, Alex Simmons specifically going back to back. Then you had Colorado scoring again, and then Colorado scored again, then Colorado scored again, then Colorado scored again. That was the end of the first. Colorado opened it up. Oshawa answers back with 3. Then Colorado gets another one. Oshawa takes another one, and then Colorado gets the final one going into half. So like it was just one of those games. Colorado came out strong, scoring the opening 3 in the second half. Oshawa firing back, scoring the next 3, heading into the fourth quarter essentially, and then Colorado getting another one. Oshawa getting another one, locking the game down to a 13-11 game at that point, and then Colorado just absolutely killing it, getting the empty netter at the end of the game. And I'm telling you, like I said, this was a very back and forth game. It was just, wow. It was a great game to watch. Dougie didn't really have the greatest game, not one of his normal, like, kind of had a down game this time. And that's the other thing. You really do rely on your goalie in this league, and it shows with the teams that win and lose, is the teams that have the goalie that can kind of like, make a few, like 3, 4, 5 really big saves that were probably goals. That's the difference maker in this league. In Colorado, if you watch this game, Dylan Ward was that guy that stopped that 4 or 5 that I thought were going in, that even the players were like, oh my God, bro. Like, when you rep a shot and you're like, that's clean, and then it's just, it doesn't go in, and you're just like, how in the world did that not go in? So, okay, so you got Alex Simmons with 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. All right, did I go over? Again, really not that many penalties there. I want to just mention that too. Dawson Thied got a 2-minute minor, which is for unsportsmanlike right at the beginning of the game. And other than that, realistically, there was 4 penalties. That was the only Oshawa penalty though, man. They were disciplined this time. They really were. Anyway, you've got, so right away, you got a couple different guys taking faceoffs over in Oshawa, and nobody really doing great. You had Mike Byrne take the majority of them. He only got 25%, going 7 for 27. You had Zach Mason taking the faceoffs and going 1 for 2. Alex Simmons got 10 points, huge. Like Alex Simmons, that's what I'm saying, guys. Like Alex Simmons, Dyson needs to get up to par, man. I don't know what's going on with Dyson this year, and I've heard. I don't think he's all really happy with his play. Let's just put it that way. I don't think he is. I think that he expects more out of himself, and you know what? It'll come. Just keep your head down and keep going. But Alex Simmons had 10 points. Ty Kurtz had 6 with 4 goals, 2 assists. Alex Simmons also got 4 goals, 6 assists, 14 shots on goal for for Alex Simmons, 16 shots on goal for Ty Kurtz, 8 loose balls for Alex Simmons as well. So he's doing everything out there, and it caused turnover. Just huge. Dyson Williams only got 4 assists. He still got 7 shots on goal, but not enough in my opinion. Their depth scoring to come in though, because you got Carson Moyer getting 2 assists, Tega Clark getting 2 assists, Will Johansson getting 2 assists. You have Dawson Thied with a goal. You have Patrick Kashok with a goal. Zach Mason with a goal. Ethan Walker only got an assist. Mike Byrne only got an assist. So, like, you need more out of these guys, boys. Like, that's not enough. You cannot have Alex Simmons out there doing it all for you. He can't do it by himself. And, like, Ty Kurtz, yeah, but, like, Thied's going to be better. and Dyson's got to be better. That's it. Theed's still getting a big goal. I'm going to give Theed 1 week to really like, okay, you got there. It's a crazy time, all that kind of stuff. Kind of to me, the trade was out of nowhere. So maybe he's still dealing with that and just trying to get, how they play together. But I need Dyson to be better for sure. And Theed needs to have a big game next game as well. And I think that's where we're going to get into that's what we're going to see this next week. And that's why I think that Oshawa is going to start turning it around this next week. So this was kind of the same point. Their season, if you go look at their season last season, very similar look to it. And they kind of turned it around and it went down to the wire. And I think we're just going to see a similar kind of thing with that this year. So you got Andrew Q. On the other side, you got Andrew Q with Colorado, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, also 10-point guy. Like, holy cow, dude. These two, it's crazy. You got Jack Hanna with a goal and 6 assists for 7 points. Massive pickup for them. Andrew Q also got 7 loose balls with 11 shots. Jack Hanna also got 11 shots on goal with 3 caused turnovers. So again, that little bit extra on defense is just what makes them that much more special. Will McLeod with 2 goals, 4 assists with 6 points. That trio is just fantastic. If Ryan Lee was sitting here, I think this team might be unbeatable. You've got Thomas Vela had a really good 2-goal, 2-assist night, and also had 8 big shots on net with 6 loose balls as well. You have Saris putting up a goal and 3 assists. He's contributing 4 points, and you have Tim Edwards with a goal and 3 assists. You have Owen Ron with 3 assists. You have Owen Down with a goal. You have Dylan McIntosh with an assist. You have Jordan Gillies with an assist. You have Warren Jeffrey with an assist. And you had Pilato with a 73 face-off percentage, 22 out of 30. So that is massive, guys. Like, holy cow, boys. That's massive. And then we've got Dougie Jameson. So for Oshawa, you got Dougie Jameson. Again, not an overly great night. Had Andrew Kidd get thrown in there very temporarily, a minute and 10, and then Dougie went back in. So 14 goals against for him, 58 minutes, 49 seconds played, 52 shots on net, 38 goals, 73 save percentage. Again, just not good enough. Dylan Ward, on the other hand, 60 shots on goal, 49 saves, 11 goals against, 7 save percentage. Absolutely massive. And he made some saves that I was like, that should not have been stopped, because this team is also like they're firing. They've got some really good chances. And Dylan Ward, I would have to say, was the difference in this game. Like, you can see it in the points here. Obviously, you had a big fall off on the other side of Oshawa, where I would say, they're like Colorado's depth guys, like 3, 4, 5, really performed a lot better than Oshawa's 3, 4, 5. But if I had to really pick it out, it would have to be the biggest thing for me. It would have to be that game. That's the difference, is a Dylan Ward as well. So final game of the week, Georgia Swarm versus Toronto Rock. And we already went over to the attendance, but they had 67-74. So realistically, not horrible, but we want to see more of that. 1000%. You had Toronto come out swinging. Georgia came back in the second quarter. Very, very tight. Anyway, you had like a back and forth game for the most part. You had Georgia having 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the third, and 2 in the fourth, and then scoring that final goal in OT. And Toronto had 4 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. Unfortunately, losing in overtime. So Toronto's like, they've had a couple games this year that have been like, wow, dude, like, it's just so tight and it's crazy. So like right off the bat, Georgia was down going into the fourth quarter. They were down by a goal, and Lyle Thompson stepped up. Lyle Thompson stepped up huge late in the game when they needed him, which realistically, as much as I think as you get older a little bit, you kind of become more of the clutch guy than you do. You're going to go get all the goals yourself, right? So Georgia, longest drought was 12 goals, 24 seconds, and Toronto's was 22 minutes, 6 seconds. Longest streak for Georgia was 4. Biggest lead was 1, and they only had the lead for 6:26 of the game, so very tight. Toronto, on the other hand, had a 3-goal was their longest streak. 3-goal was their biggest lead, and they led the game for 39-20, so almost 40 minutes, almost 2/3 of the game they held the control. But you have to play the full 60, boys. It's just part of it. A few penalties back and forth here, nothing overly major. And then you've got down here, and this is what I got a question for all my Toronto Rock fans. Like, do you think that if Nick Rose was healthy, you would have won the game? Because I honestly do think that. Because I think there was a couple. Now, this is the other thing. There was a couple goals that actually got called back here that, again, you get into, should they have been called back? Maybe. I don't know. Well, but at the end of the day, you can't leave it in the refs' hands, and you got to go out there and get the W's, right? So, and get the goals and make it count. But I do think, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I put this in my Discord. Do you think that the Toronto Rock with Nick Rose in would have won? And I think yes. I think Nick Rose, if you look at his numbers, they're just a little bit better than what these are, like, especially this season. But even like he's usually at like the 80, 81. Now, Howachuk, he did do enough to win, in my opinion, but it just wasn't enough, right? Two more big saves, and that could have changed the whole game. You had on Georgia's side, you had Shane Jackson with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. Everybody low top point getters here. Brian Cole was 4 assists. You had Lyle Thompson with a goal, 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points, but huge goals when he scored when they mattered. Jacob Hickey with 2 goals and assists. Keen Moon with 3 assists. I love Keen Moon. Jordan McIntosh with a goal and an assist. Nolan Byrne with a goal. He continues to score every game. Jordan McIntosh also went 4 for 6 in the draw with 66%. Then you have Ben Trumbull with a goal, and he had 9 for 16 with he went 9 for 16 in faceoff dot, so a little over 50%. Caleb Benedict had an assist. Van Shepon had an assist. Michael Crease out here with 8 loose balls. Just the unsung hero, man. Like, he is such a little stud. And Jacob Hickey, too. But, 10 loose balls. Huge for him. Okay. So, on the other side of things, we have Toronto. Rogers got a goal and 4 assists for 5 points, leading the team. CJ Kurse got another hat trick, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. I wonder if Lucas Arger is getting nervous yet. I got getting 40. Where's he's sitting right now? Hold on. I got to see something. Oh, you know what, though? In all fairness, he's got 16 right now, 16 goals, and he's played 6 games. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. To be honest with you, he's probably on pace for 40 goals. If he's on six games, that means they've still got 6 games. They've still got 12 games left. If he's played 6 games, he's going to be over 40. He'll be at about 40. He's on pace for about 44 right now. So wonder if he's getting nervous about that. Anyway, so we got CJ Kurse having another big night. Josh Dahlwick with a goal and 3 assists. Big night. Owen Hiltz with a hat trick, 3 goals. Mark Matthews with 3 assists. Chris Boucher with a goal. Dan Craig with an assist. Chris Weir with an assist. Justin Martin with 6 Nations. Oh, that's kind of cool. Sam English. I wonder why that has this beside his name. I don't think anybody else has that. Sam English had a goal overturned, I think it was. Where is he? Yeah, there's. Okay, Sam English. Getting 7 loose balls, but no points this week. And that could have been the difference, so maybe a little bit. You had Josh Jubenville going 9 and 21 in the faceoff. Had Mizuka take 1, and he got his 1. You have in the goalies, you have Brett Dobson with another absolute massive goaltender appearance with 57 shots on net, 48 saves with 84.2 save percentage. Holy cow. Anyway. Then you had Troy Howachuk, which is what I mean. I think this was enough to win most nights. Unfortunately, it wasn't tonight. So 49 shots, 39 saves, 9.92 goal against, and a 79.6 save percentage. But like I said, that usually is legit enough to win. Unfortunately, this time, it just wasn't. I would like to go to... So there you have it. There's Toronto losing in overtime. Absolute squeaker. Lyle Thompson getting the overtime a winner is just like simple. To me, it's just amazing to watch that. He's so good and he's so clutch. And I can't wait to see him over in Halifax by the end of the year. Just kidding. No, that's what I called it at the beginning of the year. I said Halifax is going to end up with Lyle. I don't know, man. It's because if Georgia's going for a playoff push, you can't see it. But with Halifax, all their first round picks, I could see him going there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's written in the stars here, boys. And I just want to see how Delbs do, because I think it's in Delbs. I got to make him my goalie of the week. Just looking to see. Okay, so let's go check the player leaders like I always do here, boys. And we're going to give you some fucking facts about the players and the goaltenders and all this stuff. So currently, we got Jeff Teat leading the league with, he's got a lot of leading the league here though, but he's got 57 points. Alex Simmons was sitting at number 2, has 49 points. So Jeff Teat has 8 more points than the second place guy. Connor Fields, though, still has a higher point per game than him. So does Dane Smith, technically. So those two just played less games. They played 2 less games. So we'll see how this is all going to shape up. But you have Jeff Teat with 57 points. You have Alex Simmons with 49. Rob Hellier with 48. Connor Fields with 46. Dane Smith with 44. Brian Keenan with 41. Will Malcolm with 41. Riley O'Connor with 41. Ryan Launchberry with 38. Mitch Jones with 37. And for goals, you have Jeff Teat and Alex Simmons tied at 22. goals apiece as a leading. Alex Simmons Ryan Keenan has a 33 shooting percentage right now. That's insane, guys. That's insane. So, loose balls. Let's see who's leading the Jake Withers is leading the league in loose balls, which is no surprise. I think he does that pretty much every year. Penalty minutes. Got Dawson Feed over in Oshawa leading the lead. You have also Holding Garland in Ottawa or in Saskatchewan. Sorry, he's also got 25 penalty minutes. Not bad. You got turnovers here. You have Clark Peterson, CP24 with 39 turnovers. You know what though? Jeff Teet's right there with 38. It doesn't mean much turnovers, to be honest with you. Now, caused turnovers is a different story. You have Callum Jones with a 20 caused turnovers this season. Michael Grace with 16 caused turnovers this season as a rookie. Absolutely crazy if that kid ends up somehow pulling off Rookie of the Year. Or not Rookie of the Year, Defenseman of the Year. Imagine him winning Defenseman of the Year and not winning Rookie of the Year. That's hilarious. Block shots, you have Robert Hope with 16, Paul Dawson with 12, Mike Messenger with 12. All the fucking veteran guys fucking just absolutely killing it. Trevor Baptiste is, so this is the stat I heard. Trevor Baptiste is sitting at an 81.5 face-off percentage. You have Jake Withers with a 72.1. That's the next closest to him, I would say. So absolutely killing it like crazy. Okay, so there's your players. There's your player leaders. And then we'll go into goalies here. Goalie leaders, man, this is like save percentage right now. You have Brett Dobson right now with an 86.7 save percentage. And then you have Christian Del Bianco with an 83 save percentage. Dylan Ward with an 82.9. Warren Hill with an 82.8. Nick Rose with an 80.6. Nick DeMood with an 80.5. And Rylan Hartley with a 79.9. Doug Jameson with a 79.7. Just absolutely killer. Brett Dobson, man. He's only got a fucking Brett Dobson only has a 57 win percentage. That's insane to me, guys. That's crazy. He's got the most saves though. Oh no, Dougie has the most saves at 307. Brett Dobson has 299. So Brett Dobson's almost for being as high as he is, he's got the fourth most shots this season, and Zach Higgins has actually played the most minutes in the league right now for goalies. Doug Jameson right behind him. And then goals against, Zach Higgins has the most goals against by any goalie right now. So there you have it. Overall rank, how they're ranked. I guess it just goes by save percentage. So crazy, guys. It's just okay. So let's do a power rankings here. Okay, I want to pull it up just so I'm not fucking. Let's get into anything lacrosse power rankings here. All right, boys. It's a sad day, and it's gonna be a sad day next week if the Halifax can't pull off a win. Because where they're sitting on my fucking power rankings, I never thought they'd be sitting here. I would never think they would be sitting here by this point. So we're gonna run through my my kind of my power rankings, and I always do a deep dive into these in here because I think that it's important to explain why the way I'm thinking. Because I see a lot of people put their stuff up, and it's like that makes no fucking sense. You're just doing that for, I don't know, comments, I guess, but I do mine pretty methodically. So Saskatchewan, until somebody beats them, they're the number one in the league. They beat everybody but Ottawa. And Ottawa, again, is just kind of that weird team that can sometimes get them. A little bit of a night off for Saskatchewan. I think they should probably be undefeated. And I don't know if they're going to lose a game. Like, honestly, we might see them not lose a game the rest of the year the way they're playing. We'll see about that. But they're so good, man. Right now, they're the cream of the crop. Colorado Mammoth, if they were healthy this whole season, they would be at the top of this list. Colorado, that trio, we went over it when we went through the deep dive of the games. Oh, my God. And Will Malcolm was the third best player on that team this weekend, which is insane. But Will Malcolm, Andrew Q, and Jack Hanna, that's a dynamic trio, and that trio is going to be together for a while, I'm assuming, and Colorado is going to be scary. Dylan Ward's in the back end. They got they got a great backup if, God forbid, anything happens to Dylan Ward. Knock on wood. Don't want that to happen. Knock on wood. Well, actually, not on wood for that one. But we need, this team, tell me who can beat them. Because, I can't wait to watch Saskatchewan, Colorado play, and hopefully both teams are fully healthy. If Colorado had Ryan Lee right now, if he didn't go down for the season, this wouldn't be even a contest, I don't think. You cannot have that many good guys. So Saskatchewan, don't get me wrong, Saskatchewan's scary. So these two are the cream of the crop right now. My next list for so I got Vancouver at 3, Buffalo Bandits at 4, and Rochester Nighthawks at 5. Rochester, in my opinion, are really good. They had an off night last week, but I think that they're going to come back and swing. Next week for them is a big week. We'll go into that in a minute, but it's a hard game too. Then you got Vancouver obviously is showing why they're a top team. They should have beat San Diego the week before, realistically. They got to they're kind of starting to come in together, and they're going to get, as soon as they get running, this team's going to be scary too. It's surprising to see them, even though they're at 3, seeing this low is crazy. Buffalo at 4, again, you can kind of understand it. You know, Buffalo, they're kind of just floating around there. They obviously didn't play this weekend, so they just due to circumstances, they moved up a little bit. Buffalo Bandits, man, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know when people start panicking about them quite yet, but it's got to be coming soon, and they need more out of their depth scoring. If you go listen to the Buffalo Sports Collective, I listen to their podcast usually every week. I know they produce 2 or something. I usually I listen to at least 1 a week of theirs, but they break down Buffalo really good in their podcast, and Buffalo definitely needs more scoring. Like when I listen to them, I learn a lot just about Buffalo, and that's why I really like listening to them about that. So shout out to their podcast. They're good guys. They're in the Discord, and they always post their podcast in the Discord. So I love to see that. You've got the Rochester Nighthawks. You got the Rochester Nighthawks. Got the Rochester Nighthawks with 5, which, like I said, I think they're a really good team. I think they have a hard team coming up this next week. They have the week off, and we'll have to see how the week off treated them. But they are a force to be reckoned with, and they could easily slide up to number 3, number 2 next week, depending on how they show up and how the other teams end up playing. You have Georgia Swarm. Georgia Swarm, number 6, seems crazy, especially the way they won this week, and their defense and their goaltending and all that stuff. The thing about Georgia is I just got to see they need more offense. There's nothing to talk about, and Lyle addressed it because he got asked about it. He addressed what's going on with the offense, and he said they just need to worry about building chemistry. It's a new offense, and they're getting younger. You have some growing pains when this happens, and this is just kind of a normal thing. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. But Georgia Swarm at 6 is exactly where they should be. I have Ottawa Black Bears at 7. Ottawa, to me, because of who they have beat, they still got to be on the list. They have the top scorer in the league, the best duo. Like I think Robert Hellier's 3, Jeff Teet's 1 or something right now. So like you can't tell me that they don't. Higgins, if Higgins can be more consistent, they would win more games. So a little bit, they got a really good defensive core in there. Higgins just needs to be more consistent and get them a little bit more. But he does make some big saves and he has some big games. So hopefully he can start stringing those together. And then finally, you have Halifax Thunderbirds at 8. And honestly, they almost fell out of the top 8 right now. But I believe in Halifax, and that just might be a little biased because I live by them or something, but not really. I do try to look at them objectively. I think they have such an amazing team, and I think they just need to get out of their own way, and I hope they can bring somebody in that's going to replace or at least bring somebody up that can slot in there and really put that ball in the net. I expect a lot out of Halifax when they come out this week. I think that they're going to win. I guaranteed that. This is one thing that I'm saying, and I think that they're going to be moving up this list again. But to be honest, if they can't get it together soon, it kind of starts to look at it like, okay, do we start tearing this thing down? I know Halifax fans aren't going to want to hear that, but we're going into week 10, and after this week, if they get another loss this week, which I do think they're going to win, don't get me wrong. If they get another loss this week, though, you're going to start to hear the rumblings of that team starting to be like, should we start tearing down? Is Cody Jamieson getting too old? Is this team too aggressive? Is this built the proper way? So you're going to hear all that, and you're going to hear a lot of noise. I don't think you're going to have to worry about it, but we will see, and I love chaos, so we'll have to see. But the Halifax fans deserve a championship. The Halifax franchise deserves a championship in Halifax. They got to kind of get that Rochester monkey off their back, and they have to win a championship in Halifax to show that they're their own identity. Okay, so there's my top 8 there. Easily Toronto is on that bubble. Even San Diego is starting to, obviously climb up into that thing. Las Vegas, we're going to see how they perform this weekend. This is going to be a hard game for them. I think, like I said, Oshawa, as much as they're at the bottom, Vegas it's almost like a must win for them this week. And so it's Oshawa. So that's going to be an exciting game. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's go into my player awards for the week. Okay. So we're going to do the Anything Lacrosse player awards. We do this every week. And I always like recognizing people and just trying to give out my 2 cents. So starting off strong, we have the offensive player of the week. I'm going to give it to Andrew Q. Coming back, man, this guy has been absolutely phenomenal. And there's some other guys. I gave it to Alex Simmons last week. That's why I didn't give it to him this week, honestly. But Andrew Q is right there too, right? Like he had an amazing game. He's such an offensive presence out there. You've seen that in the preseason this year, and even at the start before he took that injury. He's really getting flowing again. And like I said, they have a 3 beast there, and if you cut one off, you got 2 more that you got to deal with. So it's just an insane offense. Colorado to me, a jersey. Colorado. I'd probably get a Will Malcolm jersey just because I had Charlie on the podcast and stuff, and I think Will Malcolm is kind of going to be the future of the NLL. I think he could honestly be the face of the NLL if the NLL did it right. At least the face of the West Coast. Jeff Teat, they're trying to force Jeff Teat into it, and I just don't know if Jeff Teat's got the right personality to be the face of the league. To be honest with you, Will Malcolm, he loosens up a little bit, it'll be good. These got like we need somebody with a lot of character to him that needs to be a face of the league. We need like a, like I always say, you need a guy who can play, but you also need a guy who can banter. You need a Conor McGregor of this sport, right? You need somebody that's going to kick them to the next level. I keep talking about this. A Wayne Gretzky. I don't know who is that guy for you guys. Who is the face of this league? We don't know. It was Lyle. It's Dane. Right? Those are kind of the face of the league, Dane especially. But I feel like we're in this transition period now that it's like, who is the face of this league? Arguably right now, I could tell you, I think that it's got to be like, you go with Will Malcolm. He's got to get a little bit more, like he's such a good player, and he's one of the best players, but he's such a, he answers his questions so calculated. Like, he answers them very structured, and he takes lacrosse in this job as a job. He takes it seriously. Even if you listen to his interview with Lacrosse Classified, all his answers are very I don't want to say media trained, because I don't think they're media trained, but I just think it's he definitely watches what he says more than other players like an Austin Shanks, right? So we need a guy, but Austin Shanks doesn't have the skill to be the face of the face of the league. You need a top level guy. So we got to I still think we're searching for that unicorn that we're looking for, where it's Jeff Teat, again, I don't see enough of him, his personality. We need a face of the league. I kind of cut off track there. So we got the defensive player of the week. I'm going to give this one to Michael Grace, and that's because I can't give it the rookie of the week. And Zach Currier still, he had 11 loose balls, which is absolutely huge. Michael Grace had 8 loose balls, just out there, a very big presence, a very big win, a very big piece on that Georgia defense core, and at such a young age, and the way they won, I have to give it to him. So Michael Grace is my defensive player of the week. Then you've got goaltender of the week. This is a toss-up, guys. This is honestly straight up a toss-up. Dylan Ward, it's unfortunate his numbers don't look a little slightly higher, because I think the saves that he made were absolutely ridiculous. But I don't think he was the goalie of the week. I think it's easily down between Del Bianco and Brett Dobson. And I'm going to give it to Brett Dobson again. I don't care. I'll give the goalie of the week to the same goalie week in and week out if I have to, because I'm giving it to the best goalie of the week. Brett Dobson is the best goalie of the week. Vancouver, I think you could argue, has a better team, at least a better offense in front of them, and his numbers are still better. And it's just insane, his win rate. So Brett Dobson, if he was in front, if he had a better offense in front of him, maybe a more veteran, maybe whatever, a higher scoring offense, people would talk, imagine putting Brett Dobson in Rochester, right? It would change the whole fucking face. So Rochester, go get you want to win a championship? Go get Brett Dobson. But no, I don't think he's going anywhere. But to me, it's insane. But Brett Dobson is just having an absolute monster of a year, and he's just a character. To be honest with you, you want a face of the league? Brett Dobson. Brett Dobson, to me, is actually kind of like the Patrick Waugh of, that's a good one. Brett Dobson is essentially the Patrick Waugh of lacrosse. Let's be real here. Okay, so and then finally the rookie of the year. Sorry, the rookie of the week for me. I don't know if Jack Hanna is a rookie, considering no, he's not a rookie. No, Jack Hanna, never mind. So the rookie of the week for me is going to be Mr. CJ Kurst. Another absolutely massive night. Owen Hills also got a hat trick, don't get me wrong. CJ Kurst, 3 goals, 1 assist. Absolutely, I think it's 3 goals, 1 assist anyway. Yeah, CJ Kurst, it's 3 goals, 1 assist, 12 shots on net, 6 loose balls. He's my rookie of the week. He's going to make it a case, and this is, most people at the beginning were very CJ Kurst is going to be rookie of the year. Then everybody kind of got hot on Owen Hiltz. I've heard a couple Kavanaughs thrown out there. Michael Grace, if you're going with a defenseman, has to be considered. But CJ Kurst, I think he's doing so much and making such a big impact on Toronto that I don't see how he cannot be rookie of the year this year. I know we're only halfway through the season, but I'm on the boat where he's going to win the he's gonna win. I'm on the point where he's gonna win. I'm on the side of things where he's gonna win the rookie of the year. It's crazy if he doesn't. So there you have it. There's my anything lacrosse awards this week. You guys let me know what you think and who you would have made instead. It's up in the air. There's a couple arguments to be made in there, but I think I'm pretty accurate when it comes to that stuff. All right, so upcoming games here. What the fuck? So that's weird. Anyway. All right, so let's do the preview for next week. Okay, week 10 is. Okay, so next week there's 7 games on, okay? And we have some bangers. So it's looking like Saturday, June 30th. I think that's I think it's Friday, Saturday. 6 o'clock. No. Calendar. Let's try this again. Calendar. Okay, so we got 2 games Friday back to back, and then you've got, and it's going to be really back to back. Damn. And then you've got Saturday. You've got 5 games on Saturdays. Interesting. Like I said, I like to see one Sunday, but I understand for travel, it's better for these boys. It's better for the guys if they could just they can play Fridays or Saturdays, almost get it over with, and then not have to, and then they can, not have to be traveling on Sunday and be back to work on Monday. So I get it, but it would be nice to be spread out a little bit because I like watching all the games. So if there was games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I just think it would help also grow the league, especially with football ending. I think once football comes to an end, you really should shift to more trying to get more games on Sundays, or at least just one a week. Just one a week, that would be nice. But even honestly, like if you could do 3 games on Sunday, like one around noon, one around mid-afternoon or whatever, and then one at a night game, like you could brand it as like a Sunday night lacrosse or whatever. I think that with football being over, I think that there is kind of, you could steal some of those fans maybe, or entice some of those fans to watch. So anyway, you've got first off, start kicking off the week. You have Saskatchewan versus Calgary in Calgary. Unfortunately for Calgary, they're still going to only have one win. There's no way Saskatchewan's losing this game. Saskatchewan's going to win, go in and smack Calgary. You got Philadelphia versus San Diego. I think Philadelphia gets the revenge game. Philadelphia should have won that game. They blew it themselves. And San Diego, though, if they get this 3rd win in a row, that's going to really give them a good position. Berg's got to be a little bit more accurate, but overall, they do have some guys who can score there. Origlieri's been really good since he's come back. So if he can keep playing at this level, it's going to give San Diego the chance they need to win. He seems like he's the missing piece, and that's what's given them the confidence to win. So whether they play better in front of him or he's just given that enough to just win, which I think is kind of the case. I think that, we'll see how they do against Philadelphia again. Like I said, that sometimes can go in the favor of the team that won or the team that lost. But I can tell you, if you have any heart and you're a player for Philly and you just got beat in your own barn in front of your own fans, you're going to want to go and do the same thing back in San Diego. And San Diego's attendance, honestly, realistically, has been pretty decent. Again, Friday night, we'll see how it turns out. I know that was a big talking point last time, was that like, the game was on Friday night, so I don't know. Then you got Georgia versus Halifax. Halifax is this a must-need win. Georgia, this is an important win for them too, because if Georgia go into Halifax and beat Halifax, they're right near the top of that league. Halifax, this is a game that you have to kind of reinvent yourself and let's come in and win that game. They have a lot of guys who can score. They've got a veteran team. They should not be sitting under 500 this year, and you cannot keep going down the slippery slope. I want to see them come in extra prepared. They got to figure out how to get some goals in, and it can't all be Cody Jamieson, CP24, and Randy Stotts. You can't just rely on those 3 players. You need your depth scoring. So if you're a player on Halifax and you hear this, get out there and put some balls in the net and help your team, help that trio really push them over the edge, because they need your help. And Brett Dobson is going to be one hell of a guy to try to score, put up on. And this is a big opportunity for Halifax to try to go do that. Then you've got Vancouver Warriors versus Rochester Nighthawks. Rochester's at home. This is a game for both teams that is just, wow. I personally think Vancouver's found their game. I think Vancouver's going to come in and beat Rochester at home. It's going to be interesting to see the crowd there, because the game, when they played Buffalo played them, the thing was packed. Last game, home game, wasn't great, under 4,000. We'll see how this can go this time. But Vancouver is a force. Vancouver needs to win more than Rochester, I would say, at this point. But Rochester, they got to try to accumulate as many as they can and try to get a home field advantage. And they have arguably the best player in the world, the reigning MVP, that's honestly looking like he could honestly win MVP back-to-back, because he's just so good. So having Connor Fields, you can never count that out. Plus, you have Launchberry there. You have so many great players over there that seem like they're kind of starting to get their rhythm going. So interesting to see. We'll see who wins. I'm going to take, like I said, Vancouver on that one. You got Ottawa versus Toronto Rock. I'm going to say this is a hard one, because I have a funny feeling. My gut's telling me it's Toronto, but I think Ottawa gets a bounce back game and tries to win. If they would have lost last week, I think they might have, honestly, I would have probably taken Toronto. I would like to see Toronto get a win, because they keep losing these games very close. I think this is going to be a tight game, but at the end of the day, I do think Ottawa is just a better team. I think they're going to get them. Especially, I think Nick Rose going down is, as much as Howachuk's playing decent, I just think that with Rose in net, it gave them that little bit extra that they needed to win games. And they've had a couple games that could have went either way. So realistically, even though their record is what it is, it's, again, they're kind of in the same boat as last season already, or they're moving towards that, where it's like, I don't understand how their record's so bad, but then you see them play games and they just have these games that squeak out. So I'm going to take Ottawa for that one. Long-winded answer there. Buffalo versus Colorado. Buffalo's going to start panicking after they get this loss. Colorado at home is not going to be beat. Buffalo is an absolute force. All these teams are coming out extra hard against them because nobody wants to see them win unless you're in Buffalo. Nobody wants to see you win again. Colorado, like I said, I think Colorado right now probably has the most complete team. So I think with that trio healthy, you're not beating them. Colorado's going to take this one. Then you have Oshawa versus Las Vegas. This is a must win for Las Vegas in order for them to keep trying to build that momentum to try to keep pushing into a playoff spot. They had a really hard start to the season, and they've had a week off now, and they're ready to go. Like they should be ready to go. Chase Frazier is just an animal shooting through the net this year already. And as much as I love this, I think their back end's a little bit iffy. Kells, it really just depends on what version of Kells you get that night. But I think Oshawa starts turning it around this week. So I think I'm going to take Oshawa on this to win the game. And that's my 2 cents on it. Like I think Oshawa wins. I think they need to win. And I think when a lot of times teams need to win, they end up going in and just doing it. So it's kind of at the point in the season that, you can't keep losing at this rate. You need to start pulling some wins out of your ass. And this is going to be one of those things. Vegas, they need to fix their back end. I would love to see them go get like a Nick DeMood and bring him over to Vegas, and then let who is it? Let their young stud just develop and become the goalie that he's going to become, and let bring in somebody that like Nick DeMood on Vegas would be sick. Now, I don't know if that's possible, but if you want to be serious and try to make a playoff push, you're going to have to do something about your goaltending situation because you can't let up fucking 15 plus every game and be like, what happened? Why didn't we win? So you gotta be able to put the goals up, and you also got to be able to stop them. So that's my little rant on Vegas. I think Vegas, it's going to be interesting to see if Vegas does end up winning that game. Oshawa is going to be in the hot seat, and Vegas they need that win too. So that to me because of in my opinion, the amount that game is actually going to be weighted, or the amount that game actually weighs. I think that's why it's going to be my game of the week, finishing off the game. And it was just, it's just going to be a banger. So check it out. So there you guys have it. There's a weekend recap. There's the, our week thing. We went through a couple topics. This was very long as always, but I love it. Honestly, I love these deep dives. And this was a little bit late this week. Probably won't get this out till Tuesday morning kind of deal. I put my other one out late. So sometimes I wanted to give it a little bit of time to simmer, and then I'll be having this one out first thing tomorrow morning. But we're going to try to get back into like regular. Anybody who's listening to this part is going to get a little bit of information. I've just been going through in my mind in like the last couple of days. Some big news has come, or we've had some big news happen. Can't really go into it too much, but it's gonna. I have some big life changes coming, so I've been really focused on just thinking about my big life change coming, and I'll go into that more often, or more about that as it gets closer. I just haven't really told anybody yet, so I don't want it getting out there, like to my family and all these other things. So with that all being said, I'm not gonna go into it too much, but I will say that that's why this episode's partly, that's why it's late too, because I've had to like basically plan like a big life change that's coming. So for that reason, that'll be coming in the next few months, and I'll be talking about it more as I confirm all the details. But as of right now, that's why this is also part of the reason why I was late. Also, I kind of want to let the other episode simmer. That's what I tell myself at least. But going forward, like Thursday, the podcast will be out on Thursday. We'll have an interview. Monday, the next podcast will be out. I find I'm, again, when I have a guest on, it gives me, that motivation to get it out as that much on time, because that's what I said. So with that all being said, guys, thanks for listening. I really appreciate you. Join the Discord. Leave a comment if you're listening this long. I'm telling you, the fans that are here this early into these careers, like this is only episode 31. This is early. But episode 31, it's always crazy when I say it, because it's like, man, to do 31 episodes of like a podcast consistently, there's very, 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 very few percentage of people that actually go that long. Most people produce like 10 podcasts and that's it. And it's inconsistent. Now, again, I'm not always right on time like I like to be, but I do try my best. So with that all being said, guys, Thursday, there'll be a new episode. Like I said, new field episode. We'll be doing a PLL kind of roster deep dive. I'm going to play with the site a little bit more over the next couple of days and figure out some more information, join all this stuff, and we'll do a big deep roster dive into that. We'll go over the weekend of college lacrosse as well. And I'm pumped, guys. Like, as much as I love box, I'm actually really excited to start watching field. And I know there's going to be a lot smaller of an audience for it right away, but I'm hoping that I can bring some box guys over with me, and I'm hoping I can bring some field guys over into box, because I love box. And I can't wait. Summer season, summer league's going to be starting. You know, I think we're still waiting for the OJLL draft. We're going to be doing lots of coverage for the OJLL. I'm going to try to do a little bit of OJBLL. Also, I'm hoping, you know, one day maybe my son can play in one of those leagues, OJLL, hopefully. We'll see though. That's up to him. I would never force him into doing that. He has to have the talent first off, which I think he's quite a good lacrosse player. We're going to see this season how he does. I've got him signed up in a camp coming up here. That's like I think it's a 6-week camp, 7-week camp, something like that. One in-person session a week essentially. And I can't wait for that stuff. So with all that being said, guys, I appreciate you listening this far. And my name is Jake McDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse. This is the game that never sits still. And I love you. And we'll talk to you guys soon.